One of our biggest things that we have started is the River Point Shopping Center area. I'm sure many of you know about the River Point. We have a Costco, Target in there, a few restaurants. There's a Golden Corral, Chili's, and different things as that. In November, last November, the residents voted to allow the city to refinance the shopping area. And in doing so, we were able to carve off a little bit of money to go to the city itself. Prior to that, we received no funding from the city. It went all to paid debt. And it really has been a tremendous boost already to us. What it is there's a PIF, public improvement fee, of 1% that is charged on all sales. And previously it went primarily to the developer, with 50% going to the redevelopment agency to keep it funded. We were able to carve off 3/8% from the developer side to go to the city, which amounts to about $500,000 a year, which in 2013 will go strictly to infrastructure and roads. We feel that that is a major need in the city of Sheridan, is to improve our infrastructure and keep it going. Some of that has already started already. In next year, we will redo the bridge over the Platte River at Hamilton. That's where the old Cinderella City Drive-In was. Now it's an apartment complex, the Riverton Apartment Complex. But we'll be putting in a new bridge there, and also replacing light poles on Santa Fe corridor, which Excel has mandated that we do. So I believe that pretty much covers it.
Well, Littleton is doing quite well. We are currently in our budget session. We started last night. We have 3 nights of budget discussions. Our 2011 budget is about 4.3% less than it was in 2010, and we've instructed the department directors to hold the line for 2012 with no increases. We are seeing some underspending, and we are seeing an increase in revenues for 2011. So it looks like we're going to come out ahead at the end of the year, but we're still being very conservative going forward because it's still quite a volatile economy and nothing has really stabilized. Our retail sales are up about 3.2% through last year, and we think that that's going to hold pretty steady. Our retail sales account for about 51% of our general fund, so that's we keep a real close eye on that. A good trend that we've seen is our motor vehicle tax is up about 10% over last year, so that's showing that there's some money starting to move in the economy. People are kind of getting some trust back in making some larger purchases. So our employment base remains very strong. From 1990 to 2009, our job base doubled from 15,000 to 30,000. Our economic gardening program, which we've talked about that before, and it's actually continues to earn amazing accolades. In May, the Ash Center for Democratic Governance and the Innovation at the John F. Kennedy School of Government at Harvard announced the top 25 programs in the Innovations in American Government Award competition, and we are one of those finalists. There are 6 finalists out of a pool of over 500 applicants. So we will find out, I believe, next week if we are the grand prize winner. We already think we're a winner. So our unemployment remains very low in Littleton. It's well below the national, state, and county averages. In June, the rate was 9.2 nationally, 8.7 in Colorado and Arapahoe County, and 7.7 in Littleton. We're also above the crowding in regards to residential foreclosures. Nationally, 1 in every 583 homes went into foreclosure. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. In Colorado, it was 1 in every 497. Arapahoe County was 1 in every 355. In Littleton, it was 1 in every 725. So we think that's good news. In some new development that's coming in, Aspen Grove just recently announced that the pad that they have with the Buca and the old Big Bowl on it, and then there's also a portion of that pad that was never developed, that is going to be redeveloped into our first movie theater in years. It's the Alamo Draft House and Cinema, and it will combine dinner, microbrewery, theater, and event center under one roof. So in addition to this 31,000 square foot theater, there'll be an additional 10,000 square foot of retail and restaurant that will be in there. Aspen Grove turns 10 years old in November. So this is kind of their 10th year anniversary party for us. And it helps because a lot of the retailers that they got in there, they put on 10-year leases. So this way they're able to kind of add some new energy to the place and get re-sign some of those important leases. If you've noticed, the McDonald's on Broadway or on Santa Fe that got torn down is getting rebuilt, and it's being improved and modernized, and a brand new play center, et cetera, put in there, and it should be open in November. We have some vacant land up on Rio Grande by Regal Plastics that is there's a couple of restaurants that are looking at redeveloping in there, which is interesting because of its proximity to the Alexon that was put in a couple of years ago. So that whole stretch, and we just recently paved and finished Rio Grande to add to the connectivity for the community there. So that's kind of starting to create a little leg or arm off of downtown. I could go on and on, other things, but I'll stop there.
This actually was in use about 2 hours ago when I got behind a claw, one of the big claw, like steam shovels, and started knocking down the old Ramada Inn on the corner of Bellevue and Quebec. That's the most recent construction that's happening. CUNY Lexus is moving. We'll probably be doing groundbreaking in November, and about 13 to 14 months later, ribbon cutting. So that's the commercial development news. But I will say that I'm excited because we're getting a lot of inquiries on other building spots for commercial in the city. In fact, we have developed what is now called, and for those of you that may cross over a little bit into commercial from residential real estate, a concept review which allows a potential developer to come in and figuratively on the back of an envelope give us an idea of what they want to do before they spend $100,000 on an architect and drawings and all that sort of thing. And the council gives them a sense of, yeah, maybe this might work, but it's not an approval. It's just a sense of the council, and it saves the development community money that way, and I think it's working well. For those of you that are type A personalities like myself, I have great news. Our multi-million-dollar investment in the traffic signal program is well on its way, so that you'll have more green time as opposed to red time, as the frustration of sitting there with there's no cross traffic. So we're working on that.
However, will we answer our emails?
Well, you don't want to go there. That brings us to the model traffic code, which we just passed last night, and you don't want to talk about that. And we also have done, in fact, we're going to remove a traffic signal on Orchard where we did the undercrossing by Tommy Davis Park, so you'll be able to get quicker back and forth. In terms of something I have done, taking to the City Hall to the neighborhoods, which you might be interested in working with the other folks up here on this platform and their council members, because it's not just the mayors, also applies to council members. I've made myself available at open houses. This has a salutary effect, I think, in several ways, just as an information source. Because, in fact, I had one guy came in from Connecticut who was loaded for bear on tax questions and all that, and it took the time away from the real estate agent that was doing the showing to show other people around while he and I got into the nitty-gritty of the fact that councils don't appoint school boards like they do back east, and all the really technical stuff. And then you also, from an elected official's point of view, it was kind of neat because on the open houses, you always get the neighbors that come through and want to see, what the house looks like, and that gives you an opportunity to connect. And and I don't have an exclusive listing with anybody, but I do have time.
What is your commission again?
In my dreams.
Yeah.
In my dreams of the commission. But I think it's important to get government out to the people. And as much as we're all up here accessible at City Hall, people don't want to bother to call because they think they're interrupting, or they don't want to try and schedule an appointment. But if they have an opportunity to just run in to somebody from the city, because everybody always has a question, like, well, what about this and that? And that brings me to something I want to do. First, I want to echo Dallas's comments and thank you for the invitation. And I too am honored. But the other thing I want to talk about for just a second that is important to you as realtors in this particular neighborhood, meaning the southeast part of town. There's a unity of action between the cities that I think is not only somewhat unique in Denver, but is absolutely totally unique in other parts of the country. There are places where cities adjoining or nearby cities, you wouldn't catch either mayor wouldn't be caught dead sitting up on the podium with another mayor. And I think Kathy and I talk frequently. I had Doug and Mike on a TV show with me on Channel 8, and we work together, and we actually sometimes even vote together at certain functions in the regional area. So I think you're very fortunate in that respect as citizens to have cooperation, which unfortunately we don't see at other levels of government, and I'll let it go with that.